Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek Podcast. I'm your host Rory, and joining me are co-hosts Graham.
Sup?
Maureen.
Hello.
And Lauren. Lauren.
Poke him with a stick.
My mic just went off for no apparent reason. I'm back.
That's good. And this is the first time we've had 4 hosts on one podcast. And we're doing okay so far, aside from needing to poke Lauren with the stick, as Graham said. Yeah. But anyway, also joining us is very special guest Paul Warren. He was a stand-in double for Harry Potter on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and Captain America on Captain America, the First Avenger. And he also played a ministry wizard in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, a murder creature in For the Dark World, and a Russian zombie in World War C. So how are you, Paul?
Hi guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
We're very well, thanks. It's great to have you join us today.
Oh, it's good to be here.
So getting right into the questions, my first question for you is, how did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
Well, when I was about 10 years old, I did a play, a school production of Shakespeare, Midsummer's Night's Dream, and I played Puck, you know, the little wimpy guy. And from then on, I just thought, right, I just want to be an actor. I want to do monsters, I want to do creatures, you know, all the fun stuff. I left school, but then I got a little bit sidetracked with a band, became signed, started touring. And it was only as I got later in life to my 30s that I started getting back into the acting again. And then it just took off from there, really, you know. Being a little weird skinny guy, started getting some really cool stuff.
Very nice, yeah. My second question is, what was it like getting to be a stand-in double for the title character in Harry Potter? Did you get to work with Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was great. When I first started doing it, to be honest, I'd never read the Harry Potter books. I'd maybe seen the first 2. What was it? The first one and then the Chamber of Secrets. I hadn't seen any of the others. So when I went on there, I just thought, oh, it's a kids' movie. It's going to be some good fun. And it was only once I started working on it that I got to see, you know, how big it really was, and you know, came to appreciate it a lot more. But yeah, I worked with Daniel quite a bit. Being his double, especially in Order of the Phoenix, I did a lot of the broomstick flying. So a lot of my time was spent on a green screen, flying broomsticks and, you know, working out moves. And
my third question is, what was it like playing the border creature in For the Dark World?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, I only got to see it quite recently because it came out sort of 2 months ago. But yeah, I filmed that about a year ago. That was great fun being part of the Marvel universe. I mean, the thing with prosthetic work is, it's very grueling, very long hours, very physical. You've got to have a certain kind of mentality to be able to stand it. And not only that, once you're in the prosthetics, being able to perform in them. It's all great, looking great, but if you can't perform, then it's just a nice thing. You hang on a hanger, isn't it, really? So, yeah, it was very physically demanding. There was a lot of fight scenes between the Marauders at the start of the film and Thor. So I was getting knocked around a bit and explosions and that kind of stuff. But, yeah, it was great fun. Yeah, I mean, I love really getting into the roles that are physical, especially when you've been sitting around in the makeup chair for like 3 hours every single morning. It's nice once you're on set to then be unleashed and be able to just physically get it all out your system.
Yeah, definitely really cool. My fourth question is, what was it like having the zombie makeup put on for your zombie in World War Z?
Yeah, again, that was a pretty grueling experience. I think it was about 3 hours in makeup. It was a strange film, that one, because it's been well documented that there are production financial issues and that kind of stuff, and script issues. So the actual stuff that actually doesn't actually appear in the movie, it was part of a third act of the movie that was taken out and replaced with a whole new act that was written pretty late on. So all of that work, unfortunately, doesn't get to be seen at all. But yeah, it was hard. It was very hard, but it looked very cool. And it's just a shame that nobody will get to see the work that was done.
Yeah, definitely. And my final question is, do you have any upcoming acting roles or other projects you would like to talk about?
I've done quite a bit recently. I don't know if I can talk too much about it, but there's another Marvel film that I've just finished called The Guardians of the Galaxy, directed by James Gunn, which is looking really, really good. I mean, I know a lot of people are very excited about it, as because it's a Marvel movie, but yeah. I think this is going to blow people away. I mean, the stuff I was seeing every day and the stuff I was working on it was mind blowing. So I think it comes out in August, and I think it's something to really, really look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all of my questions. Thanks very much for answering them. Right. And I'll let my co-host Graham ask his questions now.
Okay, cool.
Hello there.
Hey, man.
My first question is, how does double work differentiate from like the actual filming process? Do you think it shows a different end of filmmaking in general?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually do double roles anymore, but I'm glad I did it at the start, because it gave me great experience in film and film acting, and film language, how to behave on a set, what to do. Your face doesn't get seen, but you work just as hard as everybody else on the movie. So you don't really get the rewards of actually sort of being seen on the screen, but you still get the fun of saying I was part of Harry Potter, or I was part of Captain America, and just point out, go, there's me, and that kind of stuff. But like I say, the most valuable experience I got from it was how to behave on sets, how to take direction.
Did you see much of a difference from from actually having like a role rather than being the double, or did you find the process very similar, or?
It's very different, very different. With the doubling stuff, it's very, very physical. Sometimes you deliver lines, sometimes you don't, depending on which actor you're acting against. It's very more do this, do that, copy this, copy that. You just saw what they did, you do that. Well, this is the idea we've got for you to do. So you don't really have as much control. In fact, you don't have any control over the character at all. When you're actually acting, you get given the character to be able to develop, and you work with the director and you work with the other actors and develop this character. When you're doubling, you sort of go in, do as you're told, and then get out. But they're both good fun though. I don't regret doing it. It was great. It was a great experience.
Did you find it difficult at all to kind of get the mannerisms of the character down? Like, because you do have to kind of mimic the body language. Did you find that in any way difficult, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was for Captain America, for example. They were trying to work out at the very, very early stages how they were going to do the effect of Skinny Steve. They didn't know if it was going to be a body double or if they were going to shrink him via CGI or, you know, do false perspective, or they didn't know how they were going to do it. I mean, in the end, they used all of those techniques. And the finished film is probably about 80% Chris Evans is actually him shrunk down. All the other scenes, they've used doubles, and I was one of them. And there was a couple of others as well that would do certain scenes for different stages. Like there was one when he was transforming, but I was brought in at the very, very start of it. And what they did is they lined up a load of us together. I was at the bottom scale, and then they had a whole line of people where it would go up to a certain size, and then they would pick me as the skinny one, and they picked another guy as, you know, the regular double. And then I'd had to do sort of some stop motion, some motion capture tests they did. They'd do things where they'd have sounds, where I'd have to react to sounds. You know, on certain beats, I'd have to be at a certain point. My arm would move up at one beat, and so that they could then do head replacement, CGI face replacement with Chris Evans. But Chris was very, very sort of particular about wanting to keep as much of the character as him himself. He didn't want to give it to anybody else, you know, which is understandable. You know, because he wants it to be his performance. He doesn't want it to be bits and pieces from everyone else. You know, it's his character. But in the end, they use various techniques, and yeah. So you had to follow a lot of specific direction.
As you would if you're actually you know getting a role on its own. You do have to, you know, like there's directors there for a reason. But like,
Right.
What is the view like in a character from a different set of eyes? Like,
What do you mean? So I didn't hear you say that.
What's the view like in a character from different eyes? Do you see a different perspective of a character at all with, you know?
I think with the double work, as I say, even if you did have a different perspective on what you thought the character should be, you don't have any control over it. It's all done. It's all there. So you just go in and it's all ready to go. Yeah, you don't really have much input.
You kind of just like follow the list, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty basic kind of things. It depends how physically demanding it is. I mean, with the Captain America stuff, with the motion capture, it has to be very specific, very precise. You know, because they're doing a visual effect, so it has to be perfect. Something like the Potter stuff. A lot of the times. You'd sort of go in and they might not have an idea of what they want to do. They have the idea of it, but they don't have it planned out. They'll just sort of try and work it out on the day. So you do a lot of things where you just sort of, can you try this? Can you try that? And, you know, that kind of thing. It's all very, it's a strange process, filmmaking. It's never really the same thing twice.
Well, I have one more question, and before I pass you on to Maureen.
Okay.
You've done a few like sort of comic book roles thus far.
Yes.
Are you a comic book fan in general? And if so, what's your favourite and why?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I mean, the best thing about doing the Marvel stuff now is, I mean, absolutely blows my mind, you know, being part of the Marvel universe and playing these creatures and characters. Because I grew up as a big Marvel fan. My favourite was Fantastic Four. I was absolutely addicted to that. I don't read them too much now,